Coming up, it's our IRI 2022 preview show. We'll break down some of the competitors, the locks that we have in that, contenders, dark horses, and more. And of course, talk a little bit about fantasy as well, too. We do have our fantasy pick'em open and can't wait to talk more about it. All coming up here on FRC Recap. This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. If you're a college student or recent graduate looking for an incredible internship, take a look at Stryker. Stryker provides a housing stipend, great pay, and an opportunity to work with state-of-the-art medical technology equipment. Discover why so many First alumni are coming to Stryker for their internship or career at careers.stryker.com. Discover MSOE, where hands-on learning today can lead to real-world applications tomorrow, including their We Energy STEM Center built to support first teams. Head on over to msoe.edu/visit to see a virtual tour and schedule your campus visit today. Welcome to FRC Recap, where you get the latest breakdowns. What's going on in FRC? For First Updates Now, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
I'm Thasif.
And in an off-season special, we're going to be doing our predictions for the Indiana Robotics Invitational, staple of an event. It's been around for so long, I think 20 plus years now. I'm so excited I know 20 plus years, so it's been around since I've been in FRC. So very excited for that going on. It's been one of the most recognizable, of course, off-season events. Some of the best teams coming from all over. A little less international this year, but still a great lineup nonetheless. It's bound to be a great event, especially coming back from the COVID hiatus. The last one was in 2019, so we're very excited to talk about IRI. Hey, before we get into it, let's talk about some rule modifications that IRI is going to be doing, just so everybody is aware and know. Not too many things. Couple rule changes are kind of the standard ones that they do each year. So they have a plus 5 pound weight allowance that is back, along with 4 Alliance teams. They do the 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 8 through 1 draft order. The biggest change this year is going to be the cargo RP threshold. So unlike championships, IRI is making the change and saying that it's going to be up to 28 to get that cargo RP. No change for the hanger or climber or anything like that, but 28 for the cargo RP. So chat, I'd love to hear your opinion on the 28 before we jump into our predictions. And Brian, I want to start with you. How do you feel about 28 as the cargo RP? Is it the right amount, too little, too much, or should they not have changed it at all?
I mean, with how we saw at World Championships, it was pretty often for the quintet to happen. And we're talking about IRI here. We're not talking about your regular Joe Schmo event. I think that this is it's just going to be pointless, especially if they're keeping it at the same 18-10 cargo is a huge change.
Yeah, and a good point you bring up real quick too, because and somebody mentioned in chat too, is that the quintet will bring it down to that, and you would think the quintet's going to be accomplished most of the time still, right? So
yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a whole bunch of teams here on this list that have done and completed the quintet multiple times throughout their entire season, and I think it's going to be no different here at IRI.
Maybe so. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I don't know that it's really going to impact things too much. I think there was analysis that was done on Chief that basically, it shifts up the rankings a little bit, but it's not going to be a ton necessarily, because a lot of times these teams are just going to blow the number out of the water anyway. So,
yeah, the only thing I'm going to say, though, is teams coming back from offseason are probably going to be a little more rusty, right? So I think we might see a little bit in the beginning of IRI until some of these teams kind of get back into the groove.
Yeah, possibly. I think you're going to see a mix of teams here. You're going to see some teams that are, maybe they might have slightly different drivers that they're running. You're going to see teams that are taking this super seriously and they've been practicing for the last 2-3 months. So, I think it's going to essentially even out a little bit. So I think we're going to probably see that RP hit more often than not.
All right. Tassif, how about you? 28, yay or nay?
Yeah, actually. Like Ben mentioned with the Chief Delphi post, how 30 changed the rankings a bit at Worlds. I still feel like it would still bring a better competitiveness into the competition. So I definitely feel like it would, bring more competitive, and I'd like to see how it goes.
Yeah. So, Chad, I think overall seems a few comments saying that it sounds good. So we're looking forward to see what the changes or how it's going to impact, at least for that. It will be quite interesting to see what that impact looks like, no doubt, as we go into IRI. So curious to see, especially with the powerhouse teams we have. As Ben mentioned too, with so many teams being are either going to be using new drivers or they haven't driven a robot for 3 months. It will be cool to see. All right, let's jump into our breakdown here for teams that we picked. So each one of us has picked a team that is considered our lock, and a lock is a team that we think is going to be a number 1 seed or definitely going to win IRI. We all picked something different, by the way. That's kind of our requirements. We kind of did a little bit of a first come, first served draft. So I know a couple of us might have wanted one team that was already taken. That's the way it is. So we all picked something different to get a little flavor in there as well. So locks are going to start out. Then we're going to do contenders. Contenders are people that might, or teams that might not be a number 1, number 2 seed, but could be a top pick, a team that we would expect to be at least in the finals for things. And then we're going to each pick a dark horse team. And a dark horse team is a team that probably would not necessarily be on your radar, especially IRI. I mean, so many teams, there's so many good teams, right? That a few just kind of fall off into the void a little bit, even though they're a fantastic team. When you have 51 top tier teams, that does happen a lot. So we got some really good ones here we'll talk about too on this as well. We'll give some final predictions afterwards too. And you're going to see some stats on screen as well. We have the championship ELO. So ELOs have been calculated from after championships. We'll be posting that, where they ranked amongst all the teams of the ones that we're going to be showing. And then if you're playing the FRC Fantasy Pick'em, what their price is. And if you're not familiar with the Fantasy Pick'em, free to play. You can find it on our Discord or on Cheat Delphi. You get 200 fake dollars to draft as many teams as you want to your alliance. Teams range from, I think, as low as 14 in this one and up to $76. So be interesting to see who picks in. We're giving away a fun t-shirt, by the way. So if you are interested in winning that or just for the bragging rights, join the free pick'em with that. So let's start. Brian, let's go into our locks here. Brian, give us your first lock, or your only lock, but the first lock we're going to be going through today.
All right, so my lock, I chose Team 27, Team Rush. Looking at this team's history, looking at this team's performance this season is absolutely insane. I mean, yeah, they're a young Hall of Fame team, but these guys went rank 1 at 2 Michigan district events at Troy and Kettering 1, if I'm not mistaken, and rank 2 in Greater Pittsburgh Regional. Like, these guys won every single event that they went through. It was an absolute insanity. And me being a master of ceremonies on Newton at World Championships, I got to see this robot in person up close. It was an insane performance from Rush this year. Granted, they only made it to the semifinals at Worlds after just going through and completely raffle stomping, getting into rank 1 at Michigan State Champs, winning energy, and then winning their entire DCMP overall. I mean, they get picked by the number 1 seed team, 33-39. I get used to saying it in Hebrew every now and again, so I have to check it out. They picked Rush that was the 12th seeded team in Newton, which, I mean, when you go through and you're reaching out past an entire line of star-studded teams below you to go to number 12, you know that that team has something inside of its pocket that's worth it. And for Rush to come out as the first pick, absolutely insane. I mean, I usually go through and I try to predict who's going to go through and be the first pick of every single team down the line. I was not expecting Rush to be the number 1 pick sitting at sideline at Newton, but here at IRI, these guys have insane playing capability. That windmill climber that we've seen time and time again going to go through, and it's such an easy, consistent climb for them. I don't see anything going through and really wavering too much. I mean, there are other teams that will definitely attempt to outperform them, but there's just something that 27 machine has in its pocket that it can just throw out a surprise. And I mean, who knows? Like we said earlier, these guys could be rusty. Everybody could be rusty. Nobody could be rusty. But there's one thing I'm going to tell you for sure. Rush is not going to rush through this competition.
I think Russia's a great pick, right? Like I think you spoke up about them very well. A team that I think a lot of our picks on here are teams that might not have necessarily been Einstein teams. There's a couple of them, right? But Russia's a team that I think is definitely looking to keep climbing up the ranks. I think IRI is a great event to prove it.
Absolutely.
All right, who do we got up next for our locks here today? Ben, I think we're going over to you.
All right. So I'm talking about 1706. Now, 1706, they're a lot like the Poofs in a way because they've got the double intakes, they've got the turret, they've got the swerve drive. Maybe the climber only goes up to the high rung, but besides that, they're just it's a very ball centric team where if IRI, they're changing the ball RP is the only thing they're changing. And you're looking at a team like this that got a 4.0 ranking score that primarily focused on balls when they were at Worlds, essentially. You've got they're lined up for a good run for success, especially since I think they've taken it seriously. And not every team takes IRI seriously. It's just a large potential for a team to do very well right here. And then they've got a robot that's built for it. I think that they're set up really well for a deep run, provided they execute on the field. So I wanted to make sure we called them out here because they're a really great team and they can shoot on the move too. So that's one of those things that's going to be a big benefit here when you've got a lot of teams that are basically playing defense on you with swerve drives all the time. So it should be really good.
Yeah, 1706, one of the many teams that we've interviewed that we'll be talking about on here. Definitely a team, I think for many, were never on anybody's radar until this year, right? They've had a pretty good last 3 years or so as a team. Just looking at some stats from our friend Caleb Sykes, by the way, 1706 Ratchet Rockers, out of the teams attending IRI, are ranked as the third best teleop excluding endgame points team. So that's, of course, more of kind of like how an OPR works on that. But definitely been, as you mentioned, a fantastic team in the field and Einstein appearance as well from them, too. So congratulations. So, guys, anything else in regards to 1706? All right, let's keep moving on then. Steve, tell us who's on your radar.
Yeah, so my lock, I have one of the Canada's powerhouses, Team 2056 OP Robotics. They play their two districts. Waterloo, they were able to rank 5, lost in semis. They went to St. Mary, they ranked first, won the event, went to States, ranked first, won the event, went to Worlds, the touring division, and they ranked 16th, my bad, but they were the first pick on the third alliance by 2468. And they made it all the way to semis, and semis was actually really close. The second and third match was really close. Second match they were able to win. Third match they unfortunately lost by 6 points. But nonetheless, they're really accurate. They're able to they have a tank drive, but they still have a turret to be able to shoot no matter what orientation they're at. And they're definitely going to show their Canadian dominance in IRI. And I'm excited to see what they do. If Symbotics was there, they're probably going to choose each other, but they're not. But they're definitely going to show their Canadian dominance.
I think OP, I haven't looked this up. I think OP has the most wins at IRI, I think, out of anybody off the top of my head. Could be wrong.
That's
Somebody in chat. Okay, Ben's got the data. Perfect. So.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's like 6 or 7, but I mean, they've won a tremendous number of times at IRI.
Yeah.
I think the last time they didn't win at IRI was 2017.
Wow. That's nuts. I mean, I know we took a couple years off, but that's still crazy. So.
Mm-hmm. And before that, they won in 16 and 15 and 14 and 13.
Not in 12?
No.
Oh, that's because I beat them. All right, good.
That was another Canadian team. That was actually 2 other Canadian teams that won that year.
That's
true. Yeah, they're gonna add on their win records for sure.
OP Robotics, by the way, number 1 team ranked in autonomous out of our field here at IRI, by the way. So, I think for many, OP OP and Symbiotics and teams like that didn't necessarily shine right away, but a lot of us forget the teams in Canada. Most of them didn't get to start working until about week 3 plus
Right.
on their robots this year. So I think a tough break for a lot of teams in Canada, especially when they came to the big stage. So I haven't talked to Tyler or anybody else on OP recently, but excited to see them again and excited to see what they bring to the table. So great team. Okay, my pick for this. So I try to base my pick around what I call vendetta teams. So teams that came really close, but just didn't quite get to the big dance or where we'd want to see them. So I'm going to go with, I was really close between 2 Michigan teams, but I'm going to go with 67, the hot team on here. They are the second best team in teleop based on ELO on this. So hot team to me is a team that like they've just come either not necessarily so close, but they've had just opportunities where it looked like they were going to do so well. And then just unfortunate actions just kind of kept happening to this team over and over again. I'm really looking for 67 to take this up a notch here. There's a lot of great Michigan teams here, so I'm really looking forward to see what they can bring. But they were out in quarters at MSC, like out in quarters in a division, like very unexpected for something like that. And Roebling ended up going to the finals with 33-10, had some heartbreak pretty much at the end, broken robots and stuff. And nothing against the Alliance that beat them at all, but I think had that not happened, we might have seen somebody else on Einstein for that. So if I'm 67, I'm chomping at the bit to prove how good this robot really is. And I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I played it on the XRC simulator a few times as well too. But this robot here, I think it's just phenomenal. A great 5+ ball auto, able to do some sorting out of it as well too. So excited to see Hot on the field and see them really kind of take it by storm with this robot. You guys, anybody else have comments on 67?
I mean, 67 is really good. Like a lot of these double intake swerve teams, double intake swerves are really just set up to do really well this year. So I think they had good robot design choices, and they're reaping the rewards now for it.
I really like Hot's climber as well too. It's not necessarily the quickest, but man, it's like super consistent. Like, and it just seems to like compared to other teams that kind of are a little, I don't know if violence is the right word, but the movements are kind of that way. Like Hot's is just very smooth. And to me, if I'm going to try to climb, I'm not as worried about that robot banging into me or anything like that, especially when we get to IRI, it's going to get congested in the hangar a lot of times too. So looking once again, just looking really forward to see what that's going to bring. All right, before we get into our contenders, we're going to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, Milwaukee School of Engineering, who, if you're looking for a great college to go to in engineering courses, is in their name. We're going to show you a little bit more about MSOE so you can consider them if you're looking at going into college.
What if you could work side by side with the leader in your field from day one? Can a city be both big and small, where you'll find opportunity and community in the same place? What if hands-on learning today led to real-world application tomorrow? What if next-generation technology brought your ideas to life? What if the people who push you forward are also the ones to pull you up? And can the next 4 years get you ready to take on the next 40? MSOE. Rethink what's possible.
And thanks again to MSOE. Find out more about them at msoe.edu/apply. We're going to go into our contender teams next. Our contenders, once again, are teams that might not be the number 1 seed, but we expect them to do really well, be in the finals. They could be a number 1 pick, that sort of thing as well, too. So looking forward to see where teams fall for this. We'll shift up a little bit. And Ben, we're going to start with you. Find out who your first contender is here at IRI.
All right. So my contender is 4028, the Beak Squad. So the thing about 4028 is they had a little bit of slower start to the year, but by the time they got to the end, they were really firing on all cylinders, making it to the finals of their division with 1690 as the 3rd overall pick in their division, pretty deep division there. It's a really good robot. It's a swerve drive, like many of these other ones. It can climb. They're very very good at targeting. The Beak Squad's always pretty good at programming and getting that side of the job done. Plus, I've seen them take IRI seriously, both in 2018 when they had a very good robot and seeded. I think it was third there at the time, and then in 2019 where they were second overall. Or not a second overall pick, a second round pick. But even that is difficult to do at IRI too. So, they're a team that plays very competitively and it is striving for the continuous improvement. And since they've had a couple of months to work on it here, I expect they'll be coming in ready to play. So that's why I had 40-28.
I'm going to be honest with you, 4028 really hasn't been on my radar in regards to looking at these, so really cool to hear more about them. And I mean, definitely a team I know, but not one that would have came to my mind right away. So I was really excited when you picked them because I think they're one of those teams that can do really well, but might not be what's on top of some people's minds for things too. All right, let's keep moving on and find out to see who's going to be your contender pick here at IRI.
So before I want to say what contender, John Christian in chat, I saw your message, so I did pick 624 Kryptonite for my contender. I got to pick one of my Texas teams. They were great this season. They were finalists in the Texas Championship overall. They are not going to be dusty this off season because they just played at TRI, won the event, ranked first, and they are just a great bot. They have swerve. They're able to move around. They don't have a turret, but they're still a very accurate shooter. They have a separate computer on their robot for their vision system. They have a great climb, able to go to traverse pretty fast, and they did great this season. At Worlds, they were able to make it to quarters, but overall, they did amazing. And again, they're not going to be dusty at IRI. They played at TRI. They're ready for IRI.
I think 624 is a fantastic pick. To me, they could have been almost a border lock, right, for how well they performed so far.
Right.
So yeah, 624 looking really good. Oh, hi. Hold on a second. So 624 looking really good. Yeah. So 624 looking really good, and I can't wait to see them again at IRI. Thank you so much. My daughter brought me a red ball, so. Many red balls. Apparently. Thank you.
Your daughter agrees
Okay.
that 64
Go
is a
to
good
mama,
pick.
please.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's move on to our next team. And who's up next? I'm all discombobulated now. So, Brian, I think you're up next, right?
Yep, I am up next, and I picked another non-Florida team. Team 2363 Triple Helix from Chesapeake. Now, it's quite interesting that I chose this team because they didn't go to World Championships. However, let's go through and take a quick stroll through what they were able to accomplish. At their first event, they were ranked 1 at Greater Richmond, day 1. Greater Richmond won day 1, won that event. Go and rank first at Greater Richmond 2, day 1, win that event. Go and rank second at Greater Richmond 2, day 2, and win that event. They go to their district championships, rank second, and once again win that event. These guys wound up with 204 district points. The number 1 team had 215. The second highest team with the number of the third highest number of district points was 150 points. This team, from what I heard from a friend in the Chesapeake district, they were not allowed to go, and they were told that they were not allowed to go to World Championships or to any out-of-state event by their school before the season even started.
Yeah.
So these guys went through an insane season and performed top-notch here in Chesapeake with a robot that had the 118 every bot climber, but is an insane cargo machine. These guys, I believe, are definitely on radar for getting on a first pick, especially with the drive to say, now we can compete with teams outside of our state. I mean, come on. You keep a good robot inside of its container, it's going to want to fight and get out of it. That is what this team is going to be at IRI, and they are going to be hungry for reaching into that top 8 spot, or even trying to get picked to be inside that top 8 spot.
One thing I just want to mention, I think Triple Helix is a great team. I will be interested to see them playing on a much larger stage than what was CHS, and nothing against them, but in all their finals matches, so they had 8 finals matches, right? Because they played 4 times. None of those did they crack 100 points in. So to me, like, you know, I understand part of that might be because it was still DCMPs and before, you know, maybe not as many powerhouse teams in Chesapeake, but I think for them, you know, to me, they still got a little bit to prove in regards to, you know, if they're going to be able to do the full output of what is the powerhouse of IRI. Still a fantastic team, and I love their just simplistic robot design. I think is so great for this year.
I mean, with their simplicity, they really, even though it is very simple, they still have a drive there. And I do agree they do have something that can get easily put on the bench at IRI, but this team, I think that there's something that small, simple robot's going to be able to pull out against all of these nice, complex, really nice machines.
All right, let's wind up our contenders. I'm going to give you my pick for this one, and that's going to be team number 694, Stipulse, coming out of New York. Stipulse, to me, once again, a couple teams I really went back and forth on. I really like Stipulse just for their overall output. I like that they're a high shooter overall at the events that they played at. So Finger Lakes Regional, SPBLI 2, New York City Regional, all taking those. And in the Galileo division, a very early exit in the quarters, unfortunately for them. So a team to me that I think has a lot to want a little bit more. Now, for me, Stipulse, what doesn't quite put them into like a lock tier, I don't believe they still have a traversal climb as of right now. I think they're still sticking with a high climb. And for me, you know, I'm picking a team that's a non-swerve, non-turreted robot. So it's something to me that I think they can still get some great throughput for this, but overall, to me, enough to be a contender. I think they could be, you know, somewhere sitting in a 2 to 4 seed, or not seeded, but I'm sorry, picked by the number 2, number 4 alliance, and could really complete alliance to bring it to finals. So to me, 694. I think it's. I really want to root for this team because I think they go against a lot of the conventional norms that we see among some of the other elite teams out there, and yet they still perform really, really well. So interesting on there. And just going in chat, by the way, apparently somebody says this robot looks naked. So fair enough, I guess, with the design they had. So is anybody else seeing 694 this year?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to play with them right before we got knocked out.
Oh, that's true.
Galileo. Yes, yeah, they do have a traversal climb, because we were going to triple, but
okay.
Yeah, that was the plan, but yeah, it didn't happen. But they're really good in that close zone, especially in a place like IRI, because there you have the launch pad, because they are static shooter tank drive. So you know they're best in that close zone there, but when they're left alone, they could shoot super ridiculous fast.
Very cool. Yeah, I guess I didn't see their traversal climber, so I apologize that I missed that, but still a great team nonetheless on there. All right, let's go into our dark horse teams. How about some of these dark horses? Once again, at IRI, sometimes it's laughable to think that these teams could even be considered dark horses, because if you go to any other event out there, they might be considered a top team, right? So at IRI, when the field is so deep, talking about teams that maybe have fallen through the cracks a little bit. I know for many of us, we probably had quite a few picks for what could be considered a dark horse team. And this, what we'll each go through what we have on here. Tasif, I think you're starting off first, right? Give us your dark horse team coming in from Indiana.
Yeah, so my dark horse team is 3940 Cybertooth. They were winners of both of their district events, but they lost in quarterfinals at states. But they are still such a great bot overall. They're a tank drive, but great shooter. They shoot up against the hub. They're able to make almost every single shots they make, and right into the top hub, so they get those extra points. and their climb as well is really, really consistent and really smooth from what I've seen. And I definitely feel like their accurate shooting, just even though they're up against the hub and their tank drive, up against the hub, able to shoot those two balls in, and their accurate climb, that I feel like that is going to definitely make them be a top pick for IRI. They might not make top 8. They could. I would not be surprised, but they're definitely going to be a top pick. And I think they're going to make it to semis, maybe even finals.
Yeah, Cybertooth, a lot to really want to show off an impressive performance, right? Such a great robot to fall just short. I think they were one slot short of qualifying for Worlds through First Indiana. So
they were ranked 4th in their district.
Yeah, so that stinks. So I know, talking to some people on their team, they obviously were very disappointed that they didn't make it to Worlds with such a impressive robot as well. Somebody mentioned in chat that they saw this robot at Worlds because Andymark was showing it off. It was their display robot because they unfortunately weren't able to play with it. So yeah, I agree. I'm very excited to see Cybertooth play in person at Worlds. Anybody else? Any comments about Cybertooth?
Just if anyone deserves some good luck, it's definitely
right.
It's definitely 30. Yeah. They just the worst luck for a really good robot. So hoping they have a good weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, who are we going into next?
Well, I have a very interesting dark horse from Indiana, Team 5010 Tiger Dynasty. Now, looking at this team's history, it's very interesting that I chose this as a dark horse because you look at their first event, they go and they rank 14th. They're and they get knocked out early on, I believe in quarters, if I remember correctly. Their second event, they go as finalists as ranked 12th. And then they go to Indiana State Championship and go out in semis as the 7th ranked team. It shows nothing but improvement. And from what I hear from people who are mentors on this team, from talking to friends in Indiana, these guys don't like to play around. And I've been hearing that them being 6th ranked in Indiana and not making it to Worlds, they were feeling some type of way about that kind of fun part. And they want to seek some kind of redemption. Now, do I think that they're going to be able to go through and play with the big dogs at IRI? That leads something to be a question and see how hungry they are. But I definitely believe that these guys are definitely stalking the prey at IRI as Tiger Dynasty. These guys have something to prove, and they have a want to prove. And that's why I think that they're going to be the dark horse. They're going to be one of the dark horses here at this event. Like, coming in really low underneath the radar. You're not even going to notice it. And then bam, get picked up by
bam, Tiger Dynasty.
Bam, Tiger Dynasty. Never know what happens.
Like one of the best names ever for a team, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I do joke because this is the team that Ryan Donio is now mentoring from the Thrifty Bot on here, and I said I wasn't sure if it was a Chinese restaurant first or if it was a robotics team, but either way, it sounds great, and I'm excited to see it play. So, but this is a team that if you want to pick a dark horse, Brian, I think you nailed this one on the head. Like this is a real reach for a dark horse, and I think it would be really cool to see this team perform well. So excited to see this pick, no doubt. All right, we got 2 more picks to go through. We got a couple more things to talk about, nonetheless. So you didn't pick from Florida, but somebody else did. So Ben, tell us about a team from Florida.
All right, so we're going to talk about Team 180 Spam. So the interesting thing about Spam is they really don't do a whole lot of off seasons, at least according to the Blue Alliance anyway. That this appears to be one of the first ones they've done in like 5 or 6 years, which is so you don't necessarily know how they're going to treat the off seasons. That being said, the robot's one that's set up for success. It's swerve drive. It's got double intakes. It's really good at shooting. They were the 4th overall pick in their division. So it's a really good robot that's set up for success for IRI, pending that they they treat the off season seriously, which I assume if this is one of the first ones in a while, they probably will. But it's a little bit more of an unknown in that main. Plus, I just love their use of flashlights every year. They always find some innovative way to use them. So I wanted to call out 180 and hope they do well.
Yeah, they definitely stand out, no doubt. Brian, any insight on 180 being a Floridian?
Yeah, actually, I do have a bit of an insight here. So yes, this is their first off season. They rarely do off seasons because they like to let their students have the summertime off. When they did get this invite, they made a mad scramble to go through and make sure that they could make it. I personally know the drive coach. He is the guy that got me into being an MC. This is his 2nd time ever being a drive coach at IRI. The first time, I can't remember what year, but it was on 1902 Exploding Bacon that he was drive coach. The man's got a hunger, and he says that they are ready to go. And especially after what happened at Worlds, where they fell a little bit further than what they were expecting to be at, I think that 180 is going to take this event seriously. Biggest Hobbit. There he is right there, 2007.
Oh, nice. So my other thing, Spam's a great team. My only, I don't know if issue is the right word, but the only thing I've noticed on there, it does seem like throughout their competitions, like their performance regressed actually. Like they won their first event, right? And then you go into the Orlando one is the one they won, right? Yeah. And then you go into Smoky Mountains where they're semifinalists, and then Hopper, they're quarterfinalists on there. So I don't dispute that they're going to take it seriously on there. I just really hope that they're able to put a little bit more together after kind of almost regressing throughout the season as well too, and look for a strong performance from them. But Brian, I thought you were going to make like some weird pun joke when he talked about being on Exploding Bacon and then going over to Spam and saying he was hungry. Like that was like the perfect setup for you. Just saying.
It was the perfect setup, but I might have dropped the ball a little bit on that one.
Say here at IRI, like even if this robot's like, let's say the 18th to 20th best score, right? The robot, like the way the architecture set up on it is like very well set up for a robot that you'd want as a second pick. So, I think, they're set up to do really well, both robot architecture wise, even if they just, it's just like, okay, this is like another in-season competition, like a lot of teams treat it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they definitely
do put up a lot of good cargo.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too. They are one of the best cargo scorers. I think. Let me see: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think the 8th best teleop scoring team out there. So yeah, you're right. They have the stats to definitely do well for things.
Yeah, even if they regress, I think they're going to do still pretty well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good comment from John Christensen in chat too. Says their strategy is really good for triple offense. Totally agree with that. Absolutely. Let's round up our last one. Then we got a couple more things to talk about, some predictions to make for IRI. And, of course, chat, we'd love to hear what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to team up? Who do you think is going to take it all? Let us know in chat if you're watching live or, of course, in the comments on YouTube as well. I'm going to round this up with the team coming all the way from Colorado. And I wasn't sure they were attending because on TBA, it's a little confusing if they are or not. But I'm pretty sure they are. So it's going to be 44.99. The Highlanders. Once again, I told you I was taking teams that were like the Vendetta teams, right? This team went to 4 events and took finalists every single time out there. To me, if you're ready to win, this is the opportunity to do it. So we're talking about Oklahoma regional finalists, Colorado regional finalists, Utah regional finalists, and then going to the Hopper division, being ranked number 2 and being finalists again. So a team that to me, still, like, I think they get overshadowed a lot by like 16-19 in Colorado, right? And a team that really deserves a lot of great recognition. Multi-ball auto coming out of them, able to sort. I'm not sure if it was this match was shown or a different one, but they were a far side auto team that actually picked up the opposite alliance's cargo and auto and spit it out towards their hangar. So I love that strategy. Overall, nice compact robot as well too. And to me, I think $44.99 it could end up being a top 4 or 5 alliance captain potentially too out there, where they once again are one of those teams like at championships ranked number 2. They could come out of nowhere and just end up ranking and really bring a great dynamic to an alliance no matter where they fall. If this team doesn't get picked, I'll be extremely surprised for something like that. You guys, any insight or any thoughts on the Highlanders out of Colorado?
I mean, just that I've similarly been impressed by their escalation of performance all the way through Worlds. Like they were really, really good in those final matches. So, wishing them all the success here. I think they've got a really good machine.
So we talked about our locks, our contenders, our dark horses. Chat, let us know if there's anybody that we missed. I'm sure there are some because we only picked 12 teams right out of 51 on there. So there's always going to be teams that slip through the cracks, no doubt. We're going to come back in just a moment, talk about our final predictions for IRI. Once again, get them in chat. Let us know who you're going to, who you want to see in the finals together or against an IRI. Before we do that, let's stop and thank our friends at Stryker and Stryker Careers, a great company opportunity. If you're looking for a place that will actively support you being in first and cares about people who are in first, take a look at Stryker Careers at careers.stryker.com. Here's a little bit more about their company culture over at Stryker.
I love working for Stryker.
I'm genuinely excited to come to work every day.
The minute you walk through that door, you know you are part of something special.
We support each other and look out for each other.
I love Stryker because we are like a family.
At Stryker, I own my career.
There are so many different places Stryker can take me in the next 5 years.
Noi crediamo che quello che facciamo è molto importante.
Together,
with our
customers,
we are driven
to make
healthcare better.
Great people with a strong mission and values can accomplish great things together.
And thanks again to Stryker and Stryker Careers for their continued support of First Updates Now, helping us create content, keeping us loud, live, and independent. Thank you, by the way, to all of you for your follows, bits, and subscriptions. It really does mean a lot to help us keep making content. Thank you so much. We're going to wrap up and talk about our final predictions for IRI, who we think is going to pair up and take it all. Brian, let's start with you. Who's taking IRI this year?
I mean, when you look back at the history, and you see that 2056 is there, where multiple times they've even picked, they haven't even picked their usual partner that is the winningest partnership in first history and still win the event. You got to go through and say that 2056 plus somebody's going to go out there. And I think, and my personal event, I'm going to steal from Texas, I'm going to steal 624. I think 2056, 624, that is a great pairing. Both really good offensively, even though the geometry of both of their robots are kind of odd in shape for trying to fit on the traversal bar together. I think if they find a really good third robot, they will have a nice triple hang to be able to go through and solidify themselves. And I mean, it's gonna be a wash at that rate. So that's my final answer. 2056 OP Robotics and 624 Kryptonite.
All right, like it. Ben?
I also will not be betting against 2056. I will say 2056 and whoever the best or second best robot is, they'll all get together and take it.
All right, Tassif, how about you?
Honestly, I'm so happy that my lock and contenders are pairing together. I definitely feel like that's going to happen. They played so well. Kryptonite, again, not rusty. I think another team we should not forget is also from Texas, 118. They also won TRI, so they're not rusty as well. So 118 could just come out of nowhere. That's one team we didn't mention, but I do feel like OP and Kryptonite are going to be the pair.
All right, I'll break it up a little bit. So I'm going to go with, I think there's going to be a Michigan dominance this year. And I think we're going to see 27 Rush pair up with either 67 or how about 3538 Robo Jackets as well, too. A team that I think is a much better robot than what shows on paper sometimes for their stats that they have for things. Robo Jackets, I think, could end up being a top seed as well too. They were very close for me in regards to being either a lock or a contender as well too. And on the way back, since we're mentioning Texas, I'll mention one other Texas team. How about 2468 Team Appreciate joining that alliance? I think it's very possible for 2468 to drop to be a third robot on alliance. At IRI, it's just all those possibilities. You're going to see some of those really strong teams where, I would classify 2468 as kind of like a tier 2 team right now, right? Like they're really close to being the top, but not quite there. But you're going to see those tier 2 teams because it's IRI. You're going to see them be a third or fourth robot on alliance. So to me, I'm going to go 27 with 67 and 2468 and then XYZ team to round it out. How about, another team? How about Botbusters? Let's pick them up as the fourth robot in the alliance. That's my alliance right now. 27, 67, 2468, and Botbusters on alliance all together.
That's your fantasy team right there.
Yeah, I didn't pick that as my fantasy team, but sure, that might be too much money, honestly.
Teams are like 45 plus.
Yeah. Can only have so many. So. But by the way, thank you for that nice inadvertent plug there. If you are not signed up for our fantasy league, make sure you go check that out. Links on our Discord or on Cheap Delphi as well. I think it's always just firstupdatesnow.com/IRI22. We'll get you to the Google form to fill out your fantasy draft team. Then we have live stats that we can bring up for you. Let's take a look real quick. How many people have signed up since we started? I think we got quite a few. So. We'll take a look on there in just a moment. But really cool, by the way. If you're going to be playing that, it should update live during IRI because it just takes whatever the API is grabbing on there. It's what it's going to grab on that as well. So looks like we got a decent amount of people already signed up for this. So like 30 or so. So looking for more. If you want a free fun t-shirt, that's your opportunity to win one as well too. But yeah, get on there and looking forward to seeing everybody at IRI as well. Ben and I will both be at IRI, so please come say hi as well. I will have Dan from Michigan is going to be joining me. He's driving down with me to do some filming. So we'll be doing some behind the bumpers, behind the glass, all that fun stuff as well. And I'm sure we'll have some other fun hosts at IRI. So guys, anything else to say before we wrap up for tonight?
Do you think 195 Cyberknights is going to get a fourth win in a row?
No.
2056 is there.
I'm sorry. But, well, like you're not seeing this alliance captain, but you're just seeing in general, right?
Yeah.
I like Cyberknights a lot.
Point.
Yeah. Statistics would say no. How's that? I'll do the stats on that. And any other like thing like yay or nays from anybody? Like how about will we see a perfect 4.0 out of a team?
No.
I don't think so either. Yeah. So chat, let us know.
I think 195 winning again is more likely than a perfect 4.0.
Wow. I like that. So. I don't think either will happen, but yes.
Well, I mean, I think it could. I think there's 4 slots on these teams. So
yeah,
fair enough on that. So. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, if you're watching live on Twitch, make sure you check out all of our other content coming out. Live news shows coming out as well, too. We're definitely live at least every Tuesday. Fun Gaming League is back. We have a Valorant esports league going on right now with weekly events happening. We stream one of the games per week, so make sure you check out our Valorant match play. We have some Minecraft events coming up. We have a Dungeons & Dragons event that Brian's going to be running coming up very soon, so make sure you head over to our Discord, discord.gg/first updates now. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for all the follows, bits, subs, all your love. We really do appreciate it. It really makes us feel like you value us creating content. So if you don't mind buying us price of a cup of coffee, we really do appreciate it. Soda, whatever you want to call it. So, but Thanks again on behalf of myself, Brian, Ben, Tassif. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for helping keep fun loud. And if you can't help support us financially, please let other people know that fun exists. We got a whole new batch of students coming in. Show them fun. Tell them that they got to check out some of our content. It would really mean a lot to us. Next week, come back on Tuesday for FRC Roundup. We'll be talking, one of our segments will be a IRI recap, so we'll give a little bit on that, as well as some other pertinent subjects going on that are happening around the FRC world. Don't forget, check us out on youtube.com/First Updates Now. All of our social medias under First Updates Now. Of course, live here on Twitch, twitch.tv/First Updates Now. Good luck to all the teams at IRI. We'll see you next time on Fun. Talk to you then. Good night, everybody. This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. Discover MSOE, where hands-on learning today can lead to real-world applications tomorrow, including their We Energy STEM Center built to support FIRST teams. Head on over to msoe.edu/visit to see a virtual tour and schedule your campus visit today. If you're a college student or recent graduate looking for an incredible internship, take a look at Stryker. Stryker provides a housing stipend, great pay, and an opportunity to work with state-of-the-art medical technology equipment. Discover why so many FIRST alumni are coming to Stryker for their internship or career at careers.stryker.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/First Updates Now. Join our Discord at discord.gg/First Updates Now. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.